Well, let's grab the cards and just see what they're going to point to today. Let me put this talisman oracles away. Put them back in their box for now. And I'm going to grab out my new favorite deck. I love this deck. The Starlight Tarot is my absolute favorite now. And we're going to do the quick read and just see if we can figure out what the cards are pointing to this morning. Okay, let's start pulling cards. And then we'll turn them over and look at them together and see if we can figure out what they're going to tell us today. Okay, so the first thing under the surface is about where things are moving to. Things in motion, what's being driven. So let's go ahead and look at that. And it's about a new message that's coming out. Where things are going, there will be a new concrete message coming out that is about some things long term. The slow-moving knight. He has things in hand, but again, this is something that doesn't happen rapidly, but it is in motion. So the next we have under the surface coming up is what's being worked on. The Eight of Pentacles, concrete things that are taking place, that is being worked on. And let's see, the energy coming into it is about the Queen of Wands. What actions we're taking in the world, okay? The actions that we're doing now, what we're working on when it comes to the new message that's going to be coming out. And when it comes to the burden that we're carrying, the actions that have just become too much, weighing people down. Okay, so that's what we're coming in with. Things being worked out, the actions that we're doing because of a new message, the long-term burden that people are feeling. So what's going on today? We have a new cup coming out. Okay. So what is this new cup filled with? What is it that's going to be happening? Well, it's about the actions in hand, controlling. Okay? The things being controlled, being held to, the actions taking place with things up in the air. Now, I think that, looking this over, I think this has to do with the moves that Trump and Stein is making, how the people are feeling about the actions, the new message coming out, and about the actions he's been controlling, what's been taking place with it. Again, because we have above it the Chariot where things are moving, what's being worked on in this new cup of emotion that people are feeling. We're looking at the long-term aspects of it, concrete aspects, the burden that we're feeling now with things just being so up in the air, So what's going on today? Feeling some restrictions, okay? Restrictions that are taking place. Mental restrictions. Okay. And this pushback, wanting this to end, okay? Total retreat, mental retreat from the restrictions that are taking place. That's the challenge. And new information coming out. So the challenge is about these mental restrictions to totally leave them behind when it comes to new information coming out. So potential outcome we have about leadership, okay? So let's see what it says about leadership. We're not liking the harvest of what's being done by so-called leadership. And there will be new messages coming out. And in this case, you know, this is information, but about the fight, about the actions, things up in the air, more things that we're learning about. And when it comes to the restrictions they want to put on Trump is what it looks like now, because we don't like the things he's doing, the harvest, where it's leading people. The outside influence is about, okay, the information that we have, the concrete knowledge, what we're holding on to. Usually this is my card about talking about the evidence that we have, okay? When it comes to this feeling of an abuse of power, this control, taking control when it comes to what is coming into America, okay? What's being birthed in America? We have the evidence about this abuse of power when it comes to America. And ongoing with that, underneath of it, we have some new action coming in because we are feeling a loss. We are feeling a loss. And I'm thinking some of that loss, they would like to see some power being taken away from Trumpenstein, but let's see. Now, if we look at this, again, the foundation is about slow-moving concrete happenings, the burden, things so up in the air, this new information coming out, and new information taking place, and with a message about more information coming out. We have the another concrete message about people holding on to their power, the power of the people versus the power of Trumpenstein. This backing out and not liking the harvest, mentally retreating, okay? And above it all, we have where this is moving to, what's being worked on, the new cup of emotion that is coming out of this, feeling restricted when it comes to leadership. So the very center of it, we have Trumpenstein, the actions being done. And the people, our action is to see him taken out, totally out of commission, retreated, because this new cup is coming in with all these things up in the air, a lot of emotions going on with all this stuff, working on something new coming in, new information coming in, and the burden of just feeling mentally tied up when it comes to the things that Trumpenstein is continuing to put out there. When it comes to the people and our action in the world, we have a message when it comes to the things that Trump is trying to conduct and control action-wise. We're working on it, on new actions when it comes to the burden that we're feeling, moving forward, again, with all this stuff up in the air. And we have this new cup coming out when it comes to the long term that we want to instigate. So when it comes to this retreat, mental retreat, we don't like the harvest of the actions that Trump is doing. We see that he's just mentally not there. And this feeling this restriction when it comes to new information. In other words, he's not listening to the intel. We have a new cup when it comes to the messages being put out and things up in the air when it comes to his just not being mentally there as a leader. Okay, as a leader. So yeah, where it's moving to when it comes to leadership, not liking what's going on, and this for the long term, looking at something for the long term. So let's go ahead and look at a clarifying read, see what it's going to say, the clarifications on this. See if it's going to bring us some more information. Yeah, none of us like what he's doing. We think he's incompetent mentally. He's not there. This is not mentality of, looking into things. This is the mentality of backed out and just absolutely not listening to intel or anything. So let's go ahead and see. Not surprised that that's what's coming up today about what he's doing. But this is definitely a stronger motivation for impeachment, but we'll have to see. So the center of all of this is about this wanting to control information, okay? This control of holding on to the mentality, the mental. In his case, he just won't listen to anyone. He knows more than anyone, okay? And it's about enriching himself, okay? This is all about enriching himself and what he can get away with, okay? The thefts, enriching himself, knows more than anyone, making these backdoor deals, etc. So it's about, again, the actions that he is in control of, the things that he's doing, that he's instigating by himself from the White House, the control of actions by the White House, and this feeling embattled, this being embattled, okay? So again, it's about the rulership. He who would be king. We've got 3 kings here. So about being a leader, being in charge. Oh no, one is emperor, but the same kind of dynamic, being in charge, being a leader. But this is a leader who is just embattling with these actions he's controlling, and mental, dominating, just not listening to anyone, and just getting away with whatever he can because he's in the White House. So we have the Knight charging forward, taking action, When it comes to this leadership, we'll see what that's about. And the women, okay? The divine feminine. The actions being done in the world, okay? When it comes to his leadership position and the actions that he's taken. We're feeling embattled, and we continue to battle against his, domineering mindset of drama. So something new coming in, concrete, down to earth, concrete things happening. There will be some message coming out, more information coming out. Feeling the loss, okay? When it comes to the new action, and we have what's being birthed. When it comes to his attempted abuse of powers, when it comes to democracy and his inability to control his actions, we have this knight charging forward, the fight for truth, the fight for integrity, etc., and a new concrete message coming out about, again, new information when it comes to his lack of mentality, not liking the harvest, shedding light on it, and feeling a bit out in the cold with all of this information that's raining down now. Okay, we're coming again to that pinnacle point of wanting to make this long-term change to get him to walk away. Okay. So we'll have to watch what's going on. But people are increasingly, there's the fly again, increasingly, I guess he wants to be seen, fly in the ointment. But increasingly, people are becoming even more disgusted with what he is doing. His overarching abuses of power, his flaunting his nose at the legalities. And, do I really need to follow the Constitution? Do I really have to uphold it? I don't know. Is that something I really have to do? Well, that's what you swore to when you were sworn in. But he said, well, I don't even really know if that's a thing that I have to uphold it. And I just, So let's see. I put these kind of, scatter these in here where they're not all in one place here. Okay. I wanted to know what Congress is going to do with this. Well, it says they're working on, being out in the cold when it comes to balancing this. Okay? So let's ask about the Senate. What about the Senate? Because he's just not telling them what's going on. The Senate, new information, mentality, continuing to battle the energy, figuring out the next move. Okay, figuring out the next move. What about the 8? The 8 that we're supposed to be informed of this. What about the 8? I don't know what you call them. I just know it's 8 people that he was supposed to tell. When it comes to Trump, the 8, trying to juggle this. When it comes to just this action, controlling the action. Okay, controlling the actions when it comes to Trump, in the center of it. Let me see about this controlling the action. Yeah, they're struggling with this, about the actions. Okay. Yeah. With who's controlling what? See, when it comes to Trump, what's hidden? Okay, what's hidden? When it comes to Trump, a new message, a concrete message, hidden concrete message about what he's doing, what he's birthing. What about coming to balance? What is that about? Leadership. Yeah. Not liking what leadership is doing and needing to bring it to balance. Okay. So the 8 are really not happy with what he did and not informing them. Okay. They're seeing that he's out of control. They need to bring in some balance with this. That he can't just do whatever action he's going to do. So give us one last thing that we should know when it comes to this. What are the last 3 cards? What is it we need to know? What's being shared? Charging forward with truth. The fight for truth when it comes to the White House. So it looks like more rallies, more sharing, more charging forward with truth, putting it out there that we want things better from the White House. So like no kings, resistance moves, more of that coming forward, and continuing with even more being put out there. So on that note, I'll leave that here. We'll see you online. We'll see if the cards are right or wrong.